What happens when a medieval world is suddenly faced with aliens called demons? 90% of the population is wiped out, but when a trio of friends find a weapon that can kill these invaders, the remains of humanity have hope once more. They just have to find the demon mother first. This is suggested by Rebecca. It was $4.95. I'm going to open it and see my reaction to the book. Okay. Ooh, okay, it was backwards. Oh, okay. This is called Aliens Phalanx. Aliens Phalanx. And it is an original novel based on the Aliens film. I definitely would not have picked this up. I'm not a big fan of novelizations from like movie series, and I've never seen the Aliens movies before, so. A plea from me, the author, to you, the reader. No spoilers. We live in an interconnected world. Everything you put online, from a blog post to reviews on Amazon and Goodreads to a YouTube comment to a simple tweet, is instantly visible to other readers interested in the same kind of books you are. I have worked hard to craft a compelling story with what I hope are some unexpected twists. If you choose to discuss Aliens Phalanx online, please be courteous to your fellow readers and avoid mentioning these surprises. Those of us who love reading know there's only one chance to enjoy a book for the first time. Those of us who adore the Aliens franchise get precious few moments to discover new elements of this enduring universe. Whether you love or hate this book, I encourage you to tell people how you feel about it. But please, consider the enjoyment of others. Avoid posting spoilers and let people experience the story for themselves. Now, hello everyone, my name's Jamie, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing the book I found on a blind book date, Aliens Phalanx. Before we get into this, I would like to put a disclaimer that there are going to be a lot of spoilers in this book. I'm going to talk in detail about the plot in regards to what I did and didn't like, how I engaged with this book as a reader, and I'm going to be spoiling the ending. If you are interested in this book, if you are interested in the Aliens franchise, or if you just don't like having books spoiled for you, you can click away now. No hard feelings. A little hard feelings. A lot hard feelings. Don't say that. So like I said, I had gotten this book in a blind book date, so I never would have picked up an Aliens franchise book. I've not seen any of the Aliens movies. I have seen the most recent Predator movie, Prey, and I liked it enough, but that was kind of the extent of my knowledge of aliens. Everything else I knew about it only through cultural osmosis and just seeing other people parody it and just knowing how other people have talked about it before. I actually enjoyed this book a lot more than I thought I was going to. My first impression of it was that author's note that I just read to you, and that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth, considering the discussions that are going on right now about authors being in reviewer spaces. Most, if not all, review websites like Goodreads and Storygraph have options to like hide spoilers, and most readers know how to avoid spoilers in reviews. And also, I don't know about other people, but for me, even when I know a spoiler, I actually enjoy the book just as much, if not more. But if I hadn't known the spoiler, being able to reread a book having known the spoiler or the twist makes it more interesting to read, or it's something to look forward to. For example, I accidentally had it spoiled to me that somebody very important to me died in one of the Animorphs books. And I still kept reading, and it hit me like a freight train when it happened. So I don't see spoilers as that big of a deal, and if your book is going to be ruined because of a spoiler, your twist probably isn't that good. But anyway, so having my first impression be, hey, don't spoil my book, just gave me this weird feeling. It made me feel like the author was kind of elitist, or maybe didn't like reviewers, and that's a whole thing that's going on right now. So I started writing down other things. I was already kind of in a bad mood, so I started writing down other things that, you know, tipped me off that maybe this book wasn't going to be for me, or like some things I found weird or like wrong in this book. And so I started writing them down in my notes app, and then I realized it was about 350 pages in, and I hadn't written a note down in a really long time, and I was like, did this book actually get good? Like, did this book suck me in? This is a good book. I really, really like this book. There's still some things I personally didn't jive with, some things other people probably would really jive with. So first and foremost, the plot. This book is about a 19-year-old girl named, I don't know. It's spelled like this. I think it's supposed to be pronounced Aaliyah, but I thought it was pronounced Ahilia. Like, there's a reason that H is there, so. And then most people call her, like when they're speaking to her directly, they just call her Leah. So it's such a complicated name that even on page 3, it's misspelled. Now, I'm not a grammar police. I don't really care about typos. I don't like try and call the author out. I don't think it's a bad thing. Just was a little bit weird that on page 3 the main character's name was misspelled. So I was like, the name's a little too complicated, maybe you should change it. I don't know. Ahilia is a 19-year-old girl, and in her society she is considered a runner. Everyone has to run from the ages of 16 to I think 30. A runner is somebody who goes in between the, like, basically, not kingdoms, they're called holds, like a stronghold, but they're these underground city, town thingies where everyone lives, and there's different ones. And a runner takes supplies, information, other things from one hold to the other, doing trade. It's really, really dangerous because there are xenomorph aliens trying to get ya, trying to either kill you or bring you back to the demon mother, the alien mother, so that she can lay eggs in you. You know, the face hugger thing. That thing? I don't know what I'm doing. In here, they're called demons throughout most of the book. They're just kind of animals that live on this planet with these people. They're not known as aliens yet, but the word xenomorph does get name dropped towards the end. So, like I said, everyone has to do these runs. Men only have to do 5 runs in their lifetime before they can just retire into a regular career to support their community, while women have to do 10 runs, which puts them in twice as much danger. And the only way to opt out of these runs for women is to get pregnant, which I thought was a really interesting detail, because Ahilia mentions that some girls as young as 15 start getting pregnant so that they never have to do the runs and put their life at risk, and they are just pregnant for years, having as many children as possible until the age of 30, where they can just retire into a normal job so that they never have to go on a run. And I was like, that's such an interesting detail, because like, this is obviously a place that not only has just a small population, but their population is always dwindling because people are always dying on runs by the demons. So they kind of incentivize or force women to have children so that they don't have to put their life at risk. And it kind of showed off the misogyny of this world. I really liked it. It's like an interesting take on misogyny. Another thing is that, at least in this stronghold, the one Ahilia lives at, women are not allowed to be warriors, which is the thing Ahilia wants the most. She wants to be a warrior, and if not, she wants to at least be a leader of the warriors. She thinks she can lead very well, but she's not allowed to because she's a woman, and they need to keep the women having babies. There is a snowplow going out. Ahilia is in charge of 2 other runners, younger boys named Brandon and Crean, who are 15 and 16 respectively, on a normal routine run trying to get supplies to another underground hold city thing. They find that it has been attacked by a horde of demons, and that so many people died, and that the living people are not there anymore. And this is big things, because demons have always, you know, attacked runners who have been on the surface, but they've never been able to get into an underground city before and just kill everyone there. Ahelia and her boys run back to their hold, and on their way they get attacked by an alien. Ahelia is able to kill that alien, and they find that one of the native flora of this planet is a natural antidote to the demon acid blood. I think that's, if you've seen Alien, I think you know what I mean, but when their blood hits you, it burns your skin. They find out one of the leaves of this plant is a natural antidote to that, and they think that they could use this in order to not just protect their runners, but maybe to create a weapon to attack the demons. There's more political stuff. The leader of the hold that Ahilia's from is bad. He's a bad, evil guy, and the other leader from the other hold is not, because she's a woman and she is gender equality, and she wants the good of the people. She wants things for the good of the people, and the current guy doesn't. Anyway, that was silly. And then the demons attack Ahilia's home, and they find that the leaves can be used as a weapon against the demons, and they fight back, and Ahilia becomes the leader of the warriors, and then she, Brandon, and Crean go to the Black Smoke Mountain where the demon mother is, and they attack her, and then the demons cease to exist, and in the epilogue, Ahilia is able to raise a family with her boyfriend. And there are no more demons, and that's great. Happy ever after. Love it. Beautiful. I told you I was going to get into the spoilers. That's basically the plot. There's a lot more in between the things, more characters, there's more political drama about who gets to lead the hold after somebody dies. Yeah, the bad leader dies. And there are other things. There's a lot of fan service towards the end for the actual Aliens franchise. If you are into that, you probably would have picked up on that and been more excited about it. But other than that, that's just the plot. That's just what goes on in the book. And so let's get into the things that I did and did not like. I already talked about how I liked the world building. This was a very well crafted world, and I really got sucked into it. Like, I could envision everything that was going on. I never felt lost by what was going on. The world was just well written. I liked it. I could definitely see this as a movie. Like, if the next Aliens movie is this book, it would be such an easy film adaptation, and I think it would be so cool. That'd be such a good visual movie. Also, the action was well written. There were some parts of it that I just kind of skimmed over. I'm not an action person. I don't like reading or even seeing. I don't really like those big fight scenes in like Marvel movies. I go, okay, this person got punched, the other person survived, this person didn't. Like, that's kind of, there's not enough story in there for me to really care. I just get to the end where I'm like, okay, this is the winning team. So the action that I did read was well written and had really good pacing. This book was very well paced. It never felt like it was dragging, and it also never felt like it was going too fast. It didn't feel rushed or anything. So it felt really well paced. Something I don't really know how to feel about, but I'm leaning towards I like it, is Ahilia's relationship with this one boy, Tolio. We are introduced to Tolio. They have a relationship. They've been together, and Tolio kind of is used as a way to explain the why Ahilia doesn't want to have children. The reason she's not just going to let herself get pregnant in order to stay inside. And I really liked him as a character because it wasn't a romance. This is not a romantic subplot. This is not, an action adventure, but we stop in the middle of the book to have really romantic moments. Like, nothing like that happened, which I didn't realize how refreshing that was, to not have all of the action adventure halt just so the two main characters can kiss or get it on. Tulio is seen throughout the story in little scenes where she's mentions him or talks about him or talks to him, but it's not a romance, like I said. And then at the end you see that they are still together and they have a family. The reason I don't know how to feel about it is because it was kind of annoying to even bring Tulio up at all, because it's not a romance. So then why does it matter that he's there? You could probably cut him out and nothing would change. But also, I think like I said, it's refreshing to have an actual character in a relationship without the story focusing on that relationship, and to just have him be there and then have her have a happy ending. I think it's great to have that option of, you know, having a character be in a relationship but not having it be a romance. So let's get into some things that I didn't like, some just criticisms I had of the story. First of all, the language in all contexts of that word. So this is a sci-fi, but it's set in medieval times, and so it really threw me when the language was very modern. The characters talked like me. Not that every fantasy has to have some poetic prose, or they have to say thou and art and have Shakespearean language. I don't think that's true, and most fantasies don't. There would just be some weird things where it's like, oh, that's weird. For example, Morse code exists in this world. It is kind of explained at the end, like, why they would speak like that and have those things. From what we learn in the story, at the time that we learn it, the language is just really off-putting for me, that it's so modern for no reason. The banter, I was not a fan of the banter in the beginning. I don't know if maybe I just have to warm up to banter in books. There are some books where like the characters are bouncing off each other and I'm like, wow, I totally believe that you guys know each other, are friends, and have these jokes, and I have this ability to joke with each other. But this banter, I was not a fan of. And even in the middle, just talk to each other. You don't have to banter, you don't have to joke with each other. But then towards the end, I was like, okay, I get this, I like this, it's fun. Another language aspect, I just, a pet peeve of mine is just when curse words, I'm going to sound so like innocent and naive, but curse words are overused to show off that a specific character is unpleasant. Very early on, I started realizing that Crean, the character of Crean, was dropping the F-bombs like every other sentence, right? And I was like, oh, we're going that way. We're going to that direction. I actually marked on the page every time Crean specifically said fuck, or some variation of fuck. Give or take a few. My light is really bright. That is all of Crean's. I didn't mark anybody else's. I didn't have color-coded Sharpies or anything, but in comparison, Ahilia and Brandon and other characters said fuck like a handful of times. Other curse words in general a handful of times, but Crean said fuck this many times, and when he wasn't saying fuck, it was like shit or dick or everything, all of the cuss words, which is fine. I don't mind people cussing. I cuss like a sailor a lot, often, and I don't mind cuss words in books, especially adult books. But it was just kind of shoehorned in there. He would say curses that were not even things nobody would really ever say in real life, like shitballs. Nobody says shitballs. Who the fuck says shitballs in their life? Like that's the kind of thing we're working with. That kind of language. And so it made him more juvenile. He is supposed to be 16, so maybe a 16-year-old kid would say that. I don't know. It was a very forced thing, in my opinion, and it just took me out of the moment. Every time I saw it, I was like, we could do less of this. We could reach the same conclusion with less. Okay? Less is more here. That was just a huge pet peeve of mine that I noticed, but it did make it more fun because every time I saw the word fuck, I was like, let me get my Sharpie and make a little note of that. If this was written by a woman, and probably wasn't, even if it was written by the guy, but by this guy, but it wasn't the Aliens franchise, this would be considered YA, in my opinion. And you might be like, Jamie, you just talked about all of the F-bombs that are in this book. Yeah, well, there are F-bombs in a lot of other YA books, but also, if it was YA, they tell the author to get rid of half of them. But the language in this book, the writing prose, really, it gave off YA vibes. And around the 400 page mark, it did kind of shift because it was talking strictly about action and the actual alien horror details, like the body horror and whatnot. But I still would say that's YA because like that level of alien body horror adventure thriller stuff is about on par with what happened in Animorphs, which is like middle grade. So if you took out like all of the cuss words and made up fake fantasy cuss words, this would be YA, like without a doubt. That's fine with me. Again, the Aliens is a very graphic, I think R-rated horror movie, alien horror movie, so I was expecting more of a hard-hitting adult book, but the YA vibes are fine. I mean, it's obviously older YA, so whatever. Alright, now I want to talk about the fan service. I understand that I am not the target audience for the fan service. I do not care one way or the other, and I understand that they use this fan service in order to directly put this story into canon and make it fit the canon universe. Like I've said, I've not read any of the other Aliens books. I've not watched the movies. I don't know how this fits into canon. I was assuming this was like a Tokyo Drift style book where it's technically in the canon universe, but it's, aliens they're an invasive species. They've probably attacked many a planet and been awful to everyone, I just assumed this was another planet that had human-like people, like Star Wars, There are planets that have humans on them. Who cares? But no, the main characters, the main three, are actually descendants of the characters from one of the Alien movies. I'm not sure. I guess they crash landed on this planet and lived here. These people have been here for like 300 years, so I don't know how 3 people started a whole society. These 3 main characters are descendants of those characters, and you see that with their last names. Anyone who is familiar with those characters would have caught that in the first chapter when she goes, "My name's Ahelia Cooper, and this is Brandon," I forget his last name, and Crean, I forget his last name, but they're the same last names. So it wouldn't have been... No! Okay. Alright, I'm gonna finish. I don't know where I stopped.
Hope you got that.
Like I said, I'm not the main target for the fan service, so I was like, cut the shit out. I don't care. This was a good book until you made it part of the Alien cinematic universe. Like, I didn't need to know that. Just give me the xenomorphs. Like, I didn't really question who these people were. I just assumed that they were on a planet and the xenomorphs were there. Did answer the question on why they knew Morse code, like why Morse code would exist in their universe, because it's technically also the human universe, so everything that's happened in here. Anyway, all in all, this was an action-heavy, plot-focused book. If you're into that, I personally like more character-based stories, but having a fun, action-packed book is never a bad thing. There wasn't really character development. Like I said, it was plot-focused rather than character-focused. The only thing that was in the way of Ahelia's desire in life was an arbitrary gender rule, and once she proves herself, she doesn't need that. You can go. So it's not like she had to overcome some personal thing. The other characters also didn't have much in the way of character development. I think Tolio was the only one with character development. He starts out pressuring Ahelia to have a family to keep her from running and to like marry him and have his babies, and then towards the end he's like, no, I don't care. I mean, obviously you're a warrior, you're a leader, you deserve to be like doing your thing. But then they also end up having his babies and being married. So is that really character development? I'm not sure. He had like a Sokka arc, I guess. I forgot to talk about the Phalanx part of it. That's a big thing, is that they just do. If you don't know, a phalanx is when soldiers line up with their shields, and then there are rows of soldiers, and it goes back however many, usually 3, and so everyone's protected by the row in front of them, and then the row behind them has spears, and so when an enemy comes at you, you're protected, and you know that somebody can come out from behind you with a spear to get your enemy. I knew that way before this book. This book goes into great detail on what a phalanx is and how to use it in battle strategy, but I have nerdy parents who love medieval history, and so I learned about phalanxes when I was like 8. So I didn't really care about that part of it. It was an interesting like way to fight the xenomorphs. I really liked it. But yeah, that's why it's called Phalanx instead of anything else. So, alrighty, that was my review of Aliens Phalanx. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars, something like that. It was a fun adventure horror novel. I really liked it. I am a big fan of horror and I don't read enough of it. So, I will be reading more of that soon. If you're a big fan of the Aliens franchise, please tell me which other novelization I should read, because this did pique my interest and I kind of do want to watch the Aliens movie now. And if you are in the movie industry, please greenlight this. I need to see this as a movie. This would be cool. Also cast me as a Hylia. I would love to. Yes. Like the video if you like this review, and subscribe if you want to see more reviews like this. Okay, bye! The only reason there's a gap here where he didn't say fuck is because he was screaming too much to talk.